Without further ado, I would like to come up, hand over the podium to you. His Holiness Tenzin Gyatso, 14th Dalai Lama of the Tibetan people, will talk to us about the issues of leadership and values.
So I usually start the word, dear brothers and sisters, and of course, Chief Minister, something very special. Because by sort of fundamental belief, we are same human being. Mentally, emotionally, physically, we are same. Whenever I give talk or meet people, I always talk on the level of human level. We are same. So if I talk on another level, Tibetan or Buddhist, then it automatically has a little distance. Therefore, I always talk with people on human level. So I always prefer to start, dear brothers, sisters. And then with everybody want happy life. Do not be sorry. That desire will lead us as a day, more progress. Now we are 21st century. In the material field, immense development. But the real amount of inner peace is questionable. A lot of smart things, external things. But really inside, sometimes get more worry, more anxiety, more fear, too much stress. So, my basic sort of way to bring some inner strength, self-confidence, the feeling of peace. I believe education is the key factor to bring. To bring these inner values. Actually, I believe the very purpose of education is reduce gap, appearance, and reality. We often, this is very much based on appearances. Now, for example, I think appearance here, good clothes, good soul, more smart clothes, and good house, sort of good sort of material way of life. But the deeper reality, we are something, living things, who also have the experience and pains and pleasure. And they are also, on sensorial level, experience of pains and pleasure. More deeper level, mental level, satisfaction or painful experience. So between these two, the sensorial level experience and the deeper level, the mental level of the experience, between these two, the mental level experience is more serious than the sensorial level experience. It's quite clear. When physical level, some sort of difficulties, even to the painful experience, but the mental level gets sort of satisfaction, then the physical level, sort of uncomfortable feeling can subdue. Even the physical level, painful experience, sometimes gives you more satisfaction in mental level. So the physical, sensorial level experience, compare mental level experience is much better. Less important, yes. So the mental levels of the experience, someone who really feels some kind of pain in mental level, then that experience cannot subdue by physical sort of comfort. And money will not give you real comfort in mental level. Money, material facility, provide us physical comfort, not mental level. So there also is the appearance, the surface level on deeper level. So it seems to be that modern education, I think one time I was in Italy, because of Bologna, that university, 1,000 was a year anniversary. So there they give me some award. Is it that? I remember very clearly, because part of their sort of ceremony, you have to wear one ring. Ring. So Buddhist monk not allowed wear ring. But out of my respect, my appreciation of their award, I put about 2 hours on that ring. So I remember. So it's in that university, 1,000-year-old university. So when separate education institutions started, the moral ethics, the inner value is concerned, taking care about mind is concerned, church take care. So perhaps at that time, more or less, I think, balanced. And time passed. But then the influence of the church, sometimes you see, I think many other religions, including Buddhism, Tibetan Buddhism also, sometimes the people more fond about the ceremonial, they less sort of pay attention about the real substance. So then, the influence of the church also will be reduced. And family levels, family sort of values also, you see, to some extent, I think, reduced. So then, 1,000-year-old separate institution, which main concern is education or knowledge. Now that institution alone have the responsibility to look after mental development, or brain development, and warm heart development, these both. So since modern education system seems more materialistic oriented. So, with positive material development and our existing education goes very well. Where now some kind of crisis, mental health, and neglect about moral ethics. So in many fields, in economic field, and political field, or international relations field, in many fields, many levels, due to corruption, unnecessary sort of sufferings, particularly the poorer section of the people. So we are in a sort of stage. We are really facing some problem due to the lack of moral principle. Now here, some my friend, one time in Germany, I think one federal home minister, I had on my talk, the minister also participated. He said that before our talk, we discussed about moral ethics. And the minister believed moral ethics must be based on religious faith. And then also some of my Christian friend and also some Muslim friend, you see, have a little bit sort of reservation when I use the word secularism. So you see, people feel or believe any moral ethics must be based on religious faith. Even I live as a bold enough way. One time I asked the late Pope, John Paul II, I asked moral ethics, whether moral ethics must be based on religious faith or not. Then Pope did not answer. One of his sort of minister had mentioned, oh yes, moral ethics must be based on religious faith. Now this is the question. If moral ethics must be based on religious faith, then the moral ethics never be universal. Any religion, no matter how sort of great sort of religion, never can be universal. So, there is some one-on problem. And then, in reality, nearly 7 billion human beings, quite a big portion, essentially non-believer. And then even those people who consider themselves as a believer, but not very serious. I think some Indian, no, not Indian. Maybe some Indian, not here. I usually telling my Indian friend in India, I often was telling them, Indian nation, India, so comparatively very, very religious-minded nation. But at the same time, a lot of corruptions. So it seems, you see, those I teaching with my Indian friend, it looks as if they, from morning, worship to their God, or Shivaji, or Brahma, and they, so on, or Ganesh. They worship, offer. It seems almost they pray to God in order to successful about their corruption. How can, if you really believe deeper value, spiritual value, then if you really believe that, you must be honest. You must be truthful. Honesty, truthful, this brings self-discipline, moral principle. That brings self-discipline. With that, with such sort of a person, mental state, I think no danger of corruption. So therefore, now seems as possible, very religious believer, but at the same time, don't care about these injustice things. So this essentially not very serious about religious sort of faith. So now, question is, as far as religious belief is concerned, it is up to individual. If you want some kind of faith, if you want is to follow some kind of faith, very good. And very, very helpful if you practice sincerely. But if you want anyone who wants not much interest about religious faith, okay, remain as a non-believer. But as far as moral ethics is concerned, all humanity, all human beings really need that kind of moral ethics. Then the world becoming much more safe. No, because of that, justice, more truthful. So now question, how to bring moral ethics? With religious belief or without? Then, in India, more than 2,000 years, there is tradition. Secularism. That means, according to Indian sort of understanding, Indian sort of practice, secularism does not mean disrespect of religion. Actually, rather respect all religions. No preference of this religion, that religion. Then also, according sort of secularism in India, they even respect non-believer. Because of 1,000 years, there is one sort of school of thought, denying God, denying any spiritual things, except day-to-day life. So that Indian word, Charvaka. So it actually, nihilism. So according to Indian tradition, the rest of spiritual sort of spiritual tradition very much criticized about that sort of view. But meantime, people who hold that view refer to Rishi. Rishi means sage. So 1,000 years, according to Indian tradition, they respect even non-believer, even nihilist non-believer. So, according to the Indians will understand about secularism, respect non-believer also. So meantime, you see those ancient non-believers, they also have certain sort of views or certain theories about positive or justice systems. So therefore, according to the existing reality, we must find ways and means to promote moral ethics without a base of religion, without touching religion. So, more secularly approach moral ethics. And then that, I feel, through education, we should sort of approach that, promote these ethics through better awareness about the value of ethics. So, as I mentioned earlier, these years, I often tell people in modern education system, wonderful, but about moral ethics is concerned, about altruistic mind is concerned, not adequate. So problem, this secular education, is you cannot sort of teach religious faith, religious faith. So I think secularly approach these ethics. That I think can sort of carry in sort of universal level to all education sort of state institution. So now I want to share that belief, that my view. So like the famous university, I think you can make significant contribution regarding a secular way to promote human values, human ethics through education field. That cover all things. Then, of course, those individuals who eventually develop faith towards different tradition. But even better, that add on the secular sort of ethics on it, religious belief can strengthen these moral ethics. So that I want to share with you. I think many today's problem, essentially, too much self-centered attitude. We are social animals. And reality, today's reality, in global economy or many other fields, the whole world becomes like one entity. Heavily interdependent. That's today's reality. So one individual's interest is very much linked with the rest of the community, rest of the society. And the further goes, now for example, the German interest is very much linked with the European Union. The European Union sort of was the interest is very much linked with other side America, other side Asia, these things. So, Northern world, their future is very much linked with the Southern world. And like East, West, every sort of the continent of people, their future is very much interrelated. So, according to that reality, think one's own nation, think oneself is unrealistic. We have to think about the well-being of entire humanity. Global level. Usually I describe a sense of global responsibility. Then you yourself also, you see, feel much easier when I come to different places, meet new people, with belief I'm just another human being. They are human brothers and sisters. No better. If I am here, talking to you with feeling I'm Buddhist, I'm Asian. that kind of thing, too much emphasis on that creates some kind of distance. If I carry the belief I'm sane, I'm one of you. This, I think, almost many of you meeting first time. But emotionally, I know your kind of emotion, your kind of desire. Same. I want a happy life. And also negative things, anger. I also have anger, jealousy. But through awareness, deliberately try to reduce these destructive emotions. Because I want peace of mind. Peace of mind cannot be destroyed by external enemy. Only by your own internal destructive emotion. That's through enemy. So, out of awareness, you can reduce these things. And out of awareness, you deliberately try to increase the positive emotion. On the human level, generally, it's nothing to do with the religion. Simply, a happier daily life. One daily life, more compassionate feeling here. Everywhere you find human brothers, sisters, sing, smile. They also respond that way. If you consider you are something different, then a little bit also stay because of the soul service. So I think some of these Chinese leaders, when they visit different countries, they always, they are something different. So they said, they suffer. They really create by themselves some kind of loneliness. If you open, reach out where your hand go like that. You yourself are liberated. We can easily talk, we can easily communicate, we can easily share each other. Then there is no basis of feeling of loneliness. Many people complain in modern society, some problem about loneliness. Loneliness created by themselves. Their own way of thinking. Create that way. So the medicine removed that to sort of say, like tranquilizer or some other medicine, also, or alcohol or drugs, also that. Since that problem comes from within, so the remedy must find within ourselves. That's once we think the fundamental level, then there's no better. I think today's many problems, actually, you see, we too much emphasis, the secondary level, different respect, different economic interest, different national interest, too much emphasis on that. Then unnecessary problems we have. I think the world going, I think better because of that, better trend. The other day I mentioned that in early part of the 20th century, I think the concept of European Union, if someone tells, or people say, oh, rubbish, impossible. Then, after Second World War, I often say telling people, the de Gaulle, French General de Gaulle, and Adenauer, I think, formerly French and German. One time I sort of a teacher, the von Weizsäcker, once told me, when he was young, there is some kind of sort of, what's the day, because of the fact that every German eye, French is their enemy. Similarly, French eye, German is their enemy. That kind of attitude completely gone, humanity. So, the de Gaulle I often express de Gaulle, his body very, very tall, and his stomach also quite big, and his nose also quite big. Similarly, his idea also very, very big. So, thinking European Union. Then with also the combination, Adenauer, de Gaulle, these marvelous ideas invented. So things changing. yesterday I expressed that when the German reunification, began. One occasion I was in Brussels. Some my Belgian friend, a close friend. So I asked them, what do you feel? German reunification. You feel a little concerned? Oh, they say yes. 60 million of West German, and now 20 million of East German, unified 18 million of the population. So very big. So they have a little sort of anxiety. But now, the German really because of that become very good sort of their big brother. I think recent crisis, in the Euro crisis, I think Germany, the key factor to keep the economy going. So these are world change, reality change. Our mind also now becoming more wider or more holistic. So now further goals and future, I think we really need genuine sense of the global responsibility. I think the German people, very important, the heart and hand of the European continent. So you have the potential. I think German people usually looks hardworking. And really, I really admire this nation. After Second World War, you rebuilt this nation from ashes. You built your economy and politically, not totalitarian regime, but genuinely democratic nation and education. And also because of new inventions in technology. Oh, really wonderful, really wonderful. Then another factor I really admire is among the Japanese, among German. I ask quite often, do you have some kind of negative feeling towards the United States because of the war? American military really destroyed in Japan, even 2 atom bombs. But many of my Japanese friends say, no, past is past. And in German case, when Obama, during election, his visit Berlin, I think over 200,000 Berliners welcomed him. No sign of some kind of resentment about their past towards the past of the event. So you really practice forgiveness. It's much better. Sometimes in China, I think political necessity, they often remind the past of what's the sad events. Deliberately reminds them. No. So time passes. I think no force can stop the momentary changing of time. Then what important is whether we utilize time properly or not. That's our choice. So it is very important to catch up time. So the conclusion, 20th century become century of bloodshed. The German people suffer immensely. And also others. Some historians say, 20th century, over 200 millions of people get through violence. If that immense violence really brings some good thing on the planet, then you can some way justify these immense violence. That's not the case. Even if now, beginning of 21st century, some unhealthy, unfortunate things is happening, including terrorism. These things also, the symptom of the past mistake, past negligence. So from our own experience, now we must have built this century, a peaceful century. Peaceful world does not mean no longer any problem. Problem will remain. So the thing is, we must find ways and means to solve these problems through non-violent way. That's the time. So I often tell people, now 20th century becomes century of bloodshed. Now this 21st century should be century of dialogue. In order to carry dialogue, you need two things. Holistic view, that's the wisdom side. Then here, the moral side, moral side, they respect others' right. Consider them as brothers, sisters. Their interests, we have to take care. So through that way, we can achieve meaningful dialogue. Just as a one-sided view, I should retreat. They should don't bother, no botheration about others' interest. Then you cannot achieve meaningful dialogue. So here, also moral ethics, very much related here. So that's my belief. So there's some questions now. Now I speak.
From your own view, do we need leadership at all, or are most people intrinsically motivated to do the right and good thing? And can we ban them all legally?
You cannot abandon. You cannot abandon your government. Government is necessary. So there must be leader. In any way, democratic system is, I think, best system. The reason the world belongs to humanity, not kings or rich leaders, but to the people. So like Germany, here Germany belongs to German people. So in order to rule the people, by the people, it's a democratic system. Now you see change or some sort of big change under one individual leaders, I think difficult. I think, particularly the democratic system, I think the people, I think leaders who come from a community where not much concern about these moral ethics, or short-sighted, think more short-sighted. Then the leaders who come from that kind of society, of course, they are also part of the society. So society way of thinking, they also carry that. So now through education, I usually tell them, like my age, now over 70, and also 60. I think many of you, my generation, who belongs to the 20th century. So now those young people, below 30, below 20, you are generation who belongs to the 1st century. So now my generation, almost now, gone. So ready to say bye-bye. So this century, about 10 years passed. now over 90 years, well, almost 90 years yet to come. So the generation who belongs to the first century, you are the sort of the generation of humanity who can make new world, peaceful, non-violent world, that ultimately with more sense of concern for others' well-being. So, world, more compassionate world, more realistic world, that's up to you. So, that leaders, even in the United Nations, cannot bring that from grassroots already, from grassroots level. Firstly, to better awareness through education. That way, eventually, leadership comes from that kind of society. Better awareness, more long-sighted, more holistic. Then, I think things will change. This is my view.
Thank you very much. I'm sure many people in today's audience, including many students, have looked up to leaders like you, or democratic leaders like Obama, say, or Kennedy, or religious leaders like you. And we are inspired by, as Ms. Valenti said, your role modeling. You're providing an example of how the human value can be dealt with. How did it inspire you? Who was the role model for your own way in your life?
I think one single person, that's I think difficult and also dangerous. Look among human brothers, sisters, some marvelous. I think one single person, all aspects is something wonderful. That I think very rare. So you can take as a model, as a model. This field or this person is marvelous, so you can you follow that. And some certain sort of field, oh, this person is really wonderful, so it's some copy from that. I think that's the way. But that, of course, obviously, Mahatma Gandhi, although I never met, but I really admire him. And then among the living, Nelson Mandela, also very nice. And then Bishop Tutu, when we together, we always teasing each other. He often described me as a mischievous Dalai Lama. So I also respond to him, oh, this also is a mischievous Archbishop. Actually, you see, wonderful. Now, his sort of work, reconciliation, I think really made, I think, a lot of impact in many people in their country. And then President Havel in Europe, I admire President Havel. Like that. And then I think you may not agree, the former American President Bush. I love him. As a human being, wonderful person. But his policy is concerned, some disasters.
Thank you very much. This is interesting to hear. I would now like to open up the discussion. I would like to ask you whether you have any questions. We have 4 people with microphones around the room. Those who would like to ask a question, please can you stand up, briefly say who you are, and then state your question. Can we first start over there in the back?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Welcome.
Well, thank you. To introduce myself, my name is Vanessa. I've studied at Goethe University and will continue to study for global governance and diplomacy at Oxford University. And against this background, I'm very interested in your opinion on how inspired leadership should look like in the face of current crises such as the Arab revolt or the economic crisis. Thank you.
What's the question? the wrong person to ask such questions. My knowledge or experience about economy is zero.
Okay. Probably now we can start with your question, but please wait for the microphone.
One thing with this question, about 3 years ago, when the global economic crisis started, out of my own curiosity, I asked my friends who are well-known economic and businessmen. So I asked, what is the causes of this crisis? Some of them told me too much greed. And then speculations and lack of holistic view and not transparency. And then some say ignorance. These are the some factor of this crisis. So that crisis, economic crisis, also very much dealing with moral ethics. You simply, if you carry your economics or business, too much self-centered, profit, out of their greed, and without knowing the long-term consequences like that. So this the economic crisis also some related with moral principle society.
Thank you very much.
You are Indian.
No,
Indian.
I'm not Indian. I'm Austrian, teaching here in Frankfurt University. I'm teaching,
Austrian.
in all modesty, I'm teaching Buddhism also. And I wanted to ask you one question. You mentioned the problem of non-holistic worldview and separation, which comes from that we don't have a holistic worldview, or many of us don't have that. How do you think could it spread to the world so that children are already confronted with a more holistic worldview? And I think it would be a solution, but how could you imagine to spread it among children by education, in the school, in the high school, and so on? I think that's one of the main problems, creating separation, the feeling of separation.
Thank you very much. Maybe let me follow up on this, particularly in this room and in this university. What can we as universities do to create a sense and meaning of the holistic worldview being important?
Many occasions I express in Europe also, I think one time in England and also America. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the existing modern education system regarding moral ethics is concerned, still lacking. So now, it's also not easy to find some kind of supplement, or I don't know what was said, the modern education system in material development, in external development is concerned, very good, adequate. Now, moral ethics side is not adequate. So we have to find how to make complete or holistic. Now that also not easy. So in fact, yesterday, the Harvard University, some sort of conference at Harvard University, I suggested, and also I suggested there's a different location in America and some other countries, some sort of educationists and also some sort of psychologists or scientists and concerned people regarding sort of how to build healthier society through education should carry serious research work. I think you here, the Frankfurt University also is can have some serious discussion. Then some kind of blueprint read, because of the treasury blueprint from kindergarten of the university. Then, as an experimental project, some school carried that sort of text and study, that study. Then watch what's the effect, what result after 5 years. Then, you see, things are satisfactory, things are really some differences. Then you can expand, you see, that sort of curriculum, carry 10 schools or 100 schools. Still, you see, as an experiment. Then, once become, certain is something useful, then I think at national level, that even like United Nations, you see, can discuss and some kind of appeal to whole global level like that. That's my view. So not easy.
Thank you very much. I think we probably have time for one more very short question.
No hurry. Other hurry is wait. No hurry.
Please, at the very back, can we... Okay, hi, my name is Jan Zuffland, and I'm doing my PhD in neurobiology at the Goethe University. And my question would be, you mentioned that we can't derive our moral ethics from religion, so it had to be derived from discussion and dialogue. So do you think then there can be any absolute moral values, or will they change over time and with discussion?
But will moral values stay the same and stable so that we do not need religion to support them? Or will they also be flexible and change over time? And what could be the fundament for universal moral ethics?
I think when moral ethics with religious belief, there is sometimes a little bit sort of absolute. In conventional level or secular level, time change, reality change, you see, these also must be flexible. At least in Buddhist tradition, in monks of conduct, you see, and under certain circumstances, Buddha prohibited to do something. Then, different circumstances, Buddha urged must do that. So, the things are, the important thing is to benefit to concerned people. The circumstances, sort of under different circumstances, you see, one rule makes under certain circumstances that may not be applicable to different circumstances, like that. So there's, you are referring like that. I mean, there are no sort of absolute thing. From the Buddhist viewpoint, no absolute. Everything interdependent. The circumstances change, that also change. Like that. But I think according to our common sense, I think that's very important. Judge, under these circumstances, if you carry certain sort of thinking or certain sort of certain concept or certain activities harmful, one must avoid. After all, the secular ethics judge the circumstances, the reality. Not something like sort of God's order like that. That's more religious ethics. Okay. That's my view.
Thank you very much, Your Holiness. I hate to be in a role to have to interrupt this and to make a stop to this, but I see your presence and there's some Prime Minister getting a little bit nervous because of the busy schedule of you and the Prime Minister, of course. So thank you very much. Help me all by a big applause saying thank you and a good farewell and may you come back.